Oh yeah, this we gotta start with this one. So, buddy, we're in college. We're at UCM, and I told this story to Trey. Might have told it to you, but I think it's worth the viewers knowing this. Buddy, I was asleep. Right, had a box of pizza. I think it was a nice 10 to 12 slice pizza from Little Caesars.
Oh no, it was a bad
And
start to the story.
yeah, that's how we start the story, bro. And so, buddy, I'm laying down, bro. And I don't think it's the middle of the day, but it's dark, bro. So I'm taking a nap or whatever. And you know, Hale does his famous line of what? You gonna finish that, right? So, you know, that's probably in the back of my head. But I'm asleep, right, BJ? So
Of course,
I'm
of
asleep.
course.
And I hear somebody coming in my room, but maybe I'm tweaking. I'm like, nah, bro, nobody coming in my room. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you know, have you ever been in a room where you feel somebody else is in the room,
Oh, yeah.
even though, yeah. So it was that kind of feeling. So I'm like, bro, somebody definitely in my room, bro. I turn around, bro, because I sleep on my side, but I turn around to look the other way, bro. And he has a whole grip on a slice of my pizza, bro. And I just caught him. I mean, just like the Hamburglar, bro. Just caught him like mid-act with my pizza in his hand. And I mean a firm grip on it. He asks, you know what this dude had the audacity to say to me, bro? Can I have a slice? Holding up the pizza in his hand.
And what if you would have said no?
Yeah, it didn't matter. It was the firmest grip on a pizza I've seen. What's good? What's happening? What is up in the neighborhood? Nah, welcome to the Modeling Power Narratives podcast, where we work towards mastering empathetic navigation. I am your co-host, Jordan Flowers.
I'm Jacob Hale.
And I'm BJ Wilson.
And we back, baby. We are back in business. Back in business. Back in business. All right, bro. I'm done playing. I'm done playing. But we are back, man, for another episode and season 2. And how we feeling today, fellas?
Well, let's just talk about the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant?
I just want to make sure everyone understands is that, you know, I'm still riding with them. All right. I'm still here. All right.
Hey.
I'm just solidifying it now. So within 5 years, when we're on our Super Bowl run, everyone could pull this back and realize that I was here when things weren't going well. That I was still there. I was still supporting them. All right. So just want to make sure everyone knows that. Make sure it's my proof, right? This is what I'm about.
Yeah. Okay.
The Bears, baby. The Bears.
The Bears, they suck. That's what we should put after that. Like, don't give me. We got to get into the episode. They suck. We as the New York Jets defeated the Bears. Been a long time coming. Yeah, we're good now. So yeah, I'm gonna talk my talk now. Shout out to all the Jets fans out there.
All right,
Didn't y'all just lose?
Hey, we're not gonna bring that up. That's not the elephant in the room. Let's move on. That's a great segue.
Let's move on.
That's good. BJ, how we doing today, man? What's going on?
Oh, we're doing phenomenal. We are out of school, done with collegiate football, trying to make strides towards the next step. And we had a little setback. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but just know we're moving forward right now.
Absolutely, bro. And we're gonna continue to pray for you in that process, bro. We want you to be out of at least us four, the one that can keep carrying on the dream, because the injury prone leg monsters over here and me, Hale, and Trey are done for. Retired athletes. We are NARPs, and it's never coming back. So it's never coming back. But welcome again to the Modeling Power Narratives podcast. This is we have taken a couple weeks off because we're gearing up for a big month of December. We won't get into everything here because we want to get into the episode, but we didn't forget about our fans. We didn't forget about our listeners. We appreciate all the support. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Run us up, and we'll have all that information in our bios and all that thing. So make sure to show that love and support, because that's what we need to keep moving this forward, to give y'all the content that y'all love. And yeah, we need that. So without further ado, though, Hale, do you want to get us into what we are talking about today in today's topic?
Definitely. First thing, just continue on with the housekeeping. Obviously, don't forget to follow us on Instagram @_men the podcast. Follow us on TikTok, men.the podcast. A lot of content ideas and things that we're trying now going around. We've had a good month or so, even though we weren't pumping out content in terms of episodes. We were pumping out a lot of content in terms of on our page, trying to move on to more bite-sized things, little snippets here and there that will help spread the message, of course, and bring people in. But also, some people just need that. Some people need a quick 2 minutes, quick 3-minute powwow that we can put together. So that's the direction that we're heading. If you enjoy that, go ahead and follow us, check it out, see what you got going on. And with that being said, one of the things I always enjoy about this podcast is that we're able to speak freely, and we're able to really dive into our own thinking, as well as challenging each other on our thoughts and how we feel about certain things. So in this particular episode, it's a concept that I really enjoy, and I think a lot of people should at least hear about this concept and see if it's applicable to your life, which I would think it is. I didn't really have a good way to describe it. I described it as compound investing. Now, when people hear that, they think of it as finances, right? And that is true. Compound investing does involve finances, but I tried to take it a little step further. So I came up with my own little personal definition on how I would like to describe it. But I describe it as the ability to take every experience and make it so that it complements the next part of your life. Right. Now, with this philosophy, you essentially would find some way to take advantage of every opportunity that you have, whether you would consider it as a good thing or a bad thing. And I enjoy that because, again, you're not always going to have a good opportunity, golden opportunity right in front of you. You're not always going to have the best luck, but you can always take some good out of it, see what you can learn from the situation, be able to apply it to the next situation in your life. So that's kind of the philosophy that I try to live by, and kind of what the framework of this episode is going to be about. And to start it off, I'll give you a personal example of mine of how I took something that I felt like was small, but I was able to make the most out of the opportunity and what I was able to learn from it. So while I was in college, I had a summer job, and the summer job was I worked at a fireworks warehouse. Now, if you're getting a college degree and you're working at a fireworks warehouse, you can clearly understand how you don't feel like there's anything to gain from here outside of just a paycheck, right?
Right.
Well, there's a lot that I was able to actually take away from this job outside the realm of just getting paid. For starters, it's always a refresher of understanding hard work. We had mandatory overtime because we were in peak season for fireworks, because it was over the summer. So we were working 7 days a week, working 10-hour shifts in the warehouse. It was dull. There wasn't much going on. The work was very straightforward. It took a lot of mental toughness, and it took some hard work to be able to consistently go back there for a couple months at a time, on top of playing a sport, because I still had to go work out and stay in shape. So that's one feature that I felt like I took away that was great. A second feature is, because I took the job seriously and I was actually trying to do a good job and I wasn't trying to cut corners, I built a great relationship with our manager. And within that relationship, there was a lot of snippets and ins and outs of running a warehouse that I can take with me for a future investment idea if I would like to. But this individual, great manager, She was able to tell me a little bit about running a warehouse, how lucrative it actually is, how the owner of the warehouse doesn't even show up. The place just runs itself, and how much money the warehouse actually makes. And that's invaluable things that I was able to learn out of note from a place that I wouldn't think I would learn anything from. So that's a great example for me of how I took something small and tried to make the most out of it. And there's some good information and good things that I've learned from there that I can carry on to the next day. So I'm going to pay into you, Jordan. And the question that I have in particular is, finding success often requires participating in activities that we don't necessarily enjoy. For example, I talked about the warehouse, but there's plenty of others. We were all former athletes. We didn't all like practice. You're not going to always like practice. We all went to college. We didn't like doing homework. We didn't like studying for tests, right? So in your own words or in your experience, how would you take these experiences in your life that you don't necessarily enjoy and use it as stepping stones towards what you're trying to achieve?
I think it just starts with the mindset that you have when you enter these jobs. I mean, obviously you're doing it for your livelihood, right? To earn a check and to have a livelihood, to do the things that you want to do in life, because a lot of the things we need in terms of bills, food, water, all the stuff, or even just things that we don't need, like vacation or all that stuff, requires money. Like, we gotta have money. You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, obviously that's the number one goal in having a job, is to be able to have money. But within that job, there is the intricacies of, like you said, of doing things thoroughly. And I think that's what I say it starts with the mindset that you have when you enter these jobs, right? So what are you trying to take away from the job? Like, are you there just to work and gain a paycheck? Because there are a lot of people that are doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But within that, you are able to learn a lot about yourself, right? By doing things thoroughly. So, for example, like I said, when I changed my mindset, I worked a hard labor job too. Worked how many years did I work for Nebraska Furniture? I want to say 3 years. Let's say 3 years. 3 years on and off, right? And that's a manual labor job. I'm carrying refrigerators. I'm almost having a gun safe fall on me out of the truck, bro. That's a real story, by the way. The gun safe really almost crushed me, bro, to death. And I would have got a class action lawsuit. Not a class action, but I would have had a lawsuit, and I would have been paralyzed, but we would have been rich, baby. We would have been rich. But that's off the topic. But the point of it is that that is that manual labor job that I had. And in that, though, like, I tried to be thorough. You know what I'm saying? I tried to have the mindset of not just being in the job, but who do I become while I'm working it, right? Am I doing things the right way? Am I going the extra length to be, to do this? Because, like you said, not only that's because that's who I wanted to become, right? So just doing focusing on the finer detail of things. Am I delivering the right way? Am I using the right techniques, right? And then when you focus on those little things, which people might not see on the surface level, that's who you become, because now it's a practice of you to be thorough, to be focusing on the details. And yeah, y'all still making the same paycheck, but you're not only there for a paycheck, you're there to gain experience in terms of, like, when I'm in a higher position, I understand and appreciate what is happening at this level. And I understand if I master this level, I'm gonna appreciate more when I'm able to work my way up. Maybe not even in that company, but these are small characteristics about what I want to become when I get into this higher position. So I would say that would be my takeaway when it comes to that specific question that you're asking me.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that. That's again, it's in and of itself is kind of a challenge, because we're honest. This is an honest podcast. We're going to do things that we don't like. We're going to have jobs that we don't care about. It's just life. It's going to happen. All right. But throwing this caveat in there kind of challenges you a little bit. It kind of gives you a sense of purpose while you're at that job. Like, you can be at a job where all you're doing is stacking boxes, right? You're just stacking boxes. But when you start getting into that mindset, start getting the wheels churning and stuff, you start to realize, okay, what am I taking away from this job? And then as you do that, more and more things could come out of this. Like, what's my exit strategy? what's going to be after this, or how do I build this into something to where it be more of something that I would want to do. But I'll throw it to BJ also with the same question as a refresher. The question is how do you use experiences and opportunities and moments that, let's say, you don't necessarily enjoy as stepping stones towards success?
I mean, obviously, everyone wants to go straight to the goal. Everyone wants to go straight to the NFL. No one wants to go through college and spend that extra time. But let's talk about college kids in general. You're in high school. You're getting recruited to play at the next level. The dream's obviously to play D1. Everyone wants to play D1. They want to play at one of the big schools. Not always going to happen. And I have an example. I'm not going to say any names, but there was a kid at our school at Quincy. So Quincy's a D2, small D2 school. And he ended up having academic troubles, wasn't really able to get on the field. Really good player, though. Ended up having, I don't remember if it's D3 or JUCO, but he had to leave Quincy, go there, do that. And, I don't think he was very happy about it initially because, he's trying to get D1. He's trying to go to a bigger school. That's his final goal for this point in his life, in his college stage of life. And he wasn't able to get there right away. But so he goes to this D3 and he balls out this year. He wins national championship, set through Page. So I don't know if that's JUCO or D3, but they win the national championship. And not only that, he gets MVP of the game, or defensive MVP. And he's getting looks from Iowa and Illinois, and I think there are a few other schools, but these are these D1s, these big D1 schools, all of a sudden, because he took a step back and took a different route to get to this area. So it's really just a different means to accomplishing a goal, I feel like. And you can't look at setbacks as actual setbacks. You just got to look at them as different stepping stones in a way. Same thing goes with another analogy, 2K. Everyone wants to just hop on and play 2K when it first comes out. They don't want to have to grind any badges. They don't want to have to get their player any better. Don't want to put any VC into the game. But if you do that, you're going to be trash. You're going to be a 60 overall, brown shirt.
Brown shirt.
Yeah. With the white shoes, you give it about a day or two to put that work in, you're going to be a decent build and you're going to be able to play and you're going to actually be able to go out and have fun with your guys. It's going to be a good experience. So it's just kind of acknowledging that you have to put work in to accomplish things, and that's okay. That makes it worth it, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. That was a great example, and that was something we haven't touched on yet. Is that allowing yourself to take that step back to essentially take a leap forward, and that actually moves to my next point. Now, you can call it a hole, however you want to describe it. I guess you can call it a counter argument as well. But one part of this philosophy that is very interesting that I want to ask about is that, we're blessed that we happen to know what we want out of life. We're very young. There's a lot of people that you could say aren't in this sort of mindset that we pride ourselves to be on, right? So right. Not a lot of people really have life figured out. Not a lot of people can definitively say what they want to do. And that's okay. Again, it's a marathon. Everyone has their own thing. You don't have to look at people like us because we know what we want and think that you're just all of a sudden behind, right? Use it as motivation. Don't use it to tear yourself down, basically. So it does bear the question. And I've gotten this question a few times. So I'll answer this first and then we'll move to BJ. But the question is that with not knowing what you want to do in life, how do you avoid idle time when you're going through your different opportunities and situations in life? So I know a lot of people who are working a retail job or working a very get money, I just need money type of job only because they just don't know what they want to do. So the question is that how would you know what to build for if you don't even know what the end result is going to be, right? And my idea with that is that, and I've mentioned this before, how we talk about self-actualization, about looking back into your life and has it gotten better within a certain amount of time period and stuff. And there's a lot of general things that it doesn't matter what you're building towards, they're always going to be applied. One thing, I feel like everyone is entitled to be financially literate. You don't have to have a lot of money. Not everyone's entitled to be millionaires, but everyone's entitled to be financially literate and to make enough money to be self-sustainable. All right. And that is one particular goal that I would tell anyone from any job. If you don't feel like you're financially stable or you're in a good spot, that is one area right there. Without even knowing what you want to do in life, you can always strive for that. Again, not talking about being a millionaire, $100,000 fancy cars or anything like that, but everyone's entitled to have the basics. Everyone's entitled to have a place. Everyone's entitled to be able to support themselves, feed themselves, things like that. So I would tell anyone who doesn't know what they want to do in life, that's always one goal that you can throw yourself to. And second, and this is more in general, is that, again, you cannot know what you want to do, but you have to be able to look back at your life and be, okay, I'm doing way better than I was doing last year. All right. And then don't set it towards a monetary goal all the time. It can be for other things. It can be mental. You want your mental health to be better. It can be physical. Everyone can be in shape. Everyone can get in shape. All right. You know, those are very basic things that you don't have to know the end goal of your life to be able to do. So that's always my advice for people, is that if you think in terms of that, then anything you do will never actually be idle time, even if you don't know what your end result is going to be yet. And with that being said, I'll pan over to you, BJ. You know, I guess what are your thoughts on that, or how do you feel about my take on this?
Yeah, so a couple things. I don't necessarily think that having idle time is necessarily a bad thing. It will give you that time to sit back and take a look at the bigger picture of things, which is good. It will also allow you to work on other projects. Let's say you get moving too fast on one thing and you want to just take a step back to work on something else. You might completely forget about the other thing while you're moving forward on the initial thing. But anyways, getting into more specifics. So I'm going to talk more about idling, but you know what you want to do, because that's also a topic I feel like would be tough for people to situate with. So yeah, let's say you have an end goal in mind and you've reached that wall. That's not necessarily a problem, because like what I just said, you're actually going to get this point to work on other parts of your life to move forward. Like me personally, I'm in my situation, like I mentioned earlier, I have an injury right now. I'm idle, and my plan was initially to go straight to the NFL, and that can still happen, but I'm not making as much progress as I want to. I have something in my way. I have a wall right now, and that's my injury. I'm not going to say what it is. And then, so how can I keep moving forward? Well, I might not be able to work on the physical side of things. That's okay. I can work on the mental side of things. I'm doing a lot of learning plays and just kind of being calm, trying to figure out how to work better with people. It's one of the things with the mental side. And then I'm also taking my eating more serious, working on my diet. I did try lifting, but I wasn't able to do that. They told me I had to stop doing that. But it's just giving me this chance to actually like focus more on things that I probably wouldn't have focused on. I probably would have worked on trying to be the best pass protecting O lineman in the country if I were able to actually work out right now. I wouldn't really be thinking about, oh, I need to be the smartest guy in the country. I need to be the guy that understands the playbook the best, the guy that can learn these plays. So that's kind of how I look at it. If you reach a wall, you just got to find the next step to keep moving forward something in your life. That's what I'll say. Being idle is okay, but something should be moving.
You know, there is one part you do speak on that I do want to say real quick that I do enjoy. You know, whether you roll with BJ's ideas and logic, or whether you roll with mine, a common theme that both of us share is that at the end of the day, everything does happen for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. And it is up to you. This is very important. It is up to you to decide how you're going to react to whatever happens. Now, again, in BJ's case, with his injury, BJ has every right to play the victim. BJ has every right to feel bad about himself. But this man gets up every day and tries to make the best of the situation. And he's even going a step further, taking the time, is that when this is over, what's the extra stuff that I can do So when this ordeal is over and when I'm cleared, I'm still better off than where I was before. He talked about diet. He talked about film. He talked about the mindset and everything. And that's actually a very important thing. And that's really an overview of our podcast in general, is that you can find 1,000 excuses. You can find 1,000 ways to beat yourself up. You can find 1,000 ways to not do anything, right? But the minute that you decide that you want to do something, that's going to make a world of a difference no matter what your situation is and what you are doing. But panning over to you, Jordan, is there anything you'd like to add between what BJ was talking about or what I was talking about how to avoid idle time or how to accept idle time and what you do in that situation?
Absolutely. And I'm going to take the low hanging fruit, BJ. So thank you. In terms of me going through my own battle with the injury over, and obviously what I'm going to really speak to is understanding that being patient, and also with patience being a virtue, with having that time to really spend with yourself. How many times, let me just phrase it like this. How many times as grown-ups and as grown adults do we get the time to actually just sit down and work on you? It never happens. We always have something to do. We got work to attain to. We got bills. We got this. We got that. Like we got 100 other things on our mind in terms of needs and wants and stuff like that that's covering our mind, and not really being able to even pay attention or really delegate the time to really work on what we need to work on within ourselves, because it's getting masked. And if it's not getting masked, it's not at the forefront of our mind in terms of like our priorities, right? And so it's just how you use that time. When I was using this time in this bed for 3 months, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you on bed rest, it is that 24 hours laying down. It is, a lot of time spent to yourself. And in a sense, when you start off in it, it's like, dang, like I got all this time, and it can go one or two ways. It can go one or two ways when you have idle time. You can either go up or you can go all the way down. And my decision was in this is to understand that, like, I can use this as a springboard to when I get to it, like when I get to being healthy, what am I going to be in the meantime though? Or what am I trying to understand? Or what am I trying to get at to when I get healthy? What did I learn from this? Let me not have this be lost time per se. So it was a blessing in disguise. And I think sometimes you have to slow down in life. Sometimes idle time, and it's not even really idle time, but sometimes I feel as though like I was saying, dang, God, why are you doing this to me? But what God was really doing was something for me. It was like, I'm going to remove some of this stuff from your life, bro, so you can really get to what you really need to work on. I'm sorry I have to do this to you. I'm sorry I have to take these people out of your life. I'm sorry that this injury has to make you realize something. I'm sorry that I have to make you even feel this pain again. But this is what you need to work on to get to your purpose, bro. And I have to put it in your face. Otherwise, you ain't going to deal with it. So that was it. That was it. I feel like God had removed so much in my life to show me, bro, this is your problem. Or this is not a problem, but these are the issues that you have been masking for this amount of time. And now all you got is space and opportunity to learn and work from this and use it as a blessing. So what can I do in that time? So it was a lot about discipline. It was a lot about being resilient. It was about, combating my complaints with what am I grateful for. So now I don't take anything for granted as much. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to walk, like that's a blessing now when you ain't been able to walk for 3 months. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how it is. Y'all both had them. Yeah. You know the injury. So being able to use the restroom, it was a blessing, bro. I had to sit on a little donut for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like small stuff like that. I feel as though I use that experience to be like, bro, like none of it. Who promised you this? Who promised you these blessings that you've been taking for granted? So what am I able to learn in this is to not only be grateful, but to be patient and to understand, bro, at some point you got to get sat down. At some point, it's like, there is a time and a place where that is going to come in your life where it's like all your BS and all that you've been masking is going to be front and center, and you got to deal with you, bro. And what you choose to do with that is on you. But it was the biggest blessing that ever happened to me was God removing these things, and God put me in this position to really understand that me working on these things was going to push and elevate me in more areas than one moving forward in life. So it was the biggest blessing. And I would say, to just be patient, but not patient enough to where you're not doing anything. So like you said, it has to be those wheels turning. It has to be something done, even if it's not physical. If it's not, it might be spiritual. It might be anything. Just always push towards something. And you ain't got to have it all at once, but keep working. Like Dr. King said, and I'll wrap it up like this. If you can't run, walk. Can't walk, crawl, right? But no matter what, keep moving. Keep moving. We always got to find a way to keep moving. And sometimes we are going to have points where we have to sit a little bit and work on some stuff. But after that's done, keep moving. You know what I'm saying? We can't get stuck there. Let's find solutions. Let's go through the totality of the problem. Let's address it and let's keep moving. So that's what I would say with that.
Yeah, man, I love that. That was awesome. It really was. And it really it ties in together why I call it compound investing in and of itself is that it's not a lump sum that you're just throwing out there, just like in normal investing. It's not lump sum in compound investing that you throw out there. It's usually just a very steady flow piece of your paycheck for the next 40 years of your life. And then when it's time to retire, you have so much more money than what you even put in. You probably put in 100,000, but you have 1.5 million. That's all compound investing, because every single year, as you're putting money in there, the previous year, the investments that were made on that is going to now multiply in and on itself, right? And that's kind of what we're all talking about. And just to really drive it home so people understand is that without Jordan's injury, this is how crazy it gets. Without Jordan's injury, we wouldn't have had this podcast, because the essence of this podcast all started with Jordan's injury that happened 3 years ago or 4 years ago, maybe more, but somewhere in that time, right?
Right.
So from there, he had to have this awakening call, right? And the podcast didn't come right there. It didn't come while he was hurt. So he went through all of that. Ended up transferring out of the school because me and him went to the same school. Then he transferred over to BJ and Trey, right? Went through the rest of his football journey through there while going through school. He didn't really start coming up with this podcast idea until 2-3 years off of his injury, right? So you see, this is a great example of how this stuff eventually builds on top of each other to get to this point. A lot of Jordan's talking points come from the fact that he had to sit down in that place, sit in it. He didn't become a victim. Like, obviously, there's
in the moment, in a moment.
Even with me, I definitely had my issues when I was hurt, of course. But coming out of it, he doesn't look back at that situation as I'm a victim. He took a lot from that situation, and a lot of his current talking points are coming from that feeling he was in that situation and what he was able to do to get him out of there and build off of it. And it's the same thing going on with BJ. We're not going to beat it down, but in general, BJ is going to be a very strong person coming out of this because he's going through this right now. A lot of people want to be the victim or would decide to be the victim in this. And we just want to motivate you. It's like, try to find the goodness. Try to make something of this. Try to look back and say, this changed my life for the better. This was a great thing to happen.
Can I make one point, though? And I'm glad you brought it up, bro. Because what resonated and what you just said at the end of that is you got to go through it. You can't go around it. You can't go over it. There's no shortcuts to this, bro. And the thing of it is that when I look back on, with this title being about using experiences towards success, I was trying to find every way to get to the destination the fastest way, instant gratification. I'm over here trying to figure out how can I get to this destination? How can I get it quick? How can I get to point A to point B without having to go through every hoop and hurdle, right? And yeah, you might get there, but I realized that the destinations is just almost secondary and the journey is primary. And I say that because when I get there, everything that I would have learned about myself, bro, even if I was to get to the destination, to maintain that, to sustain it, I missed so much because I wasn't focused on the journey. I skipped steps. That's why we preach, and that's why BJ and Hale and Trey, and why we using these motivational and these experiences, because you have to go through it. I mean, the full range of emotions through it. Like, you have to go through the entire situation because you're going to miss something if you don't. It's something in it that's got to happen to you. And the sooner I got out of that mindset of like, dang, I want to kind of find a short. I don't really want to go through this. Yeah, it sucks in the moment. I promise. I understand that it sucks in the moment, but I promise you, you're gonna take that and then be like, I don't want to feel like that no more. So you're gonna do everything because you went through it. You're gonna do everything in your power to understand what it takes to not go back there. So it is the journey, and it's more so not the destination. Because if you got the confidence in yourself, you're gonna get there. I don't know when, but you're gonna get there. But it's about the journey and who did I become when I got here? That's what it's more so for me. Man, I'm getting a little preacher on y'all. I'm sorry.
No, you're great. You're great. You know, you have to take that journey. Obviously,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All the ups and downs. You got to take that journey, of course.
Yeah.
So moving on. I enjoy this because it's cool. Some of these questions, the answers are kind of built into each other, but every now and then we try to throw a very open-ended, very discussion-oriented question. And again, it gets everyone thinking. You know, there's never it's not a right answer, it's not necessarily a wrong answer, but it creates a very healthy, interesting conversation and really digs into all of our minds. It makes us all better because it makes us think about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And the question that I was wondering was essentially, what is your why? And you can point to something specific, you can point to something broad, but you know, it's always the what gets you out of bed. You know, what is it? Why are you this way? You know, what is your end goal essentially with this? And I'll go first. You know, I spent a lot of time thinking about this. It took me a while to really figure this out, and it's way more straightforward than I ever thought it could be. But really, my why I work hard, why I have goals and want to do things is one is that I am alive and living, and two is that I feel like that I'm able to do it. Those are my two reasons. I wake up every day and obviously I'm alive because I woke up. And number two is that I'm a very confident person and I look at certain things and I think that I can do it. And I have the idea that because I think that I can do it, I need to also prove to myself that I can do it. And that essentially is what gets me out of bed. So when we move on to goals in life and what you want to do, I think I can be successful. Not, you know, I don't really care to be, let's say, a billionaire or something crazy like that. But I think I can be very successful. I think I can get a really nice house. I think I can have a very great life. So because I think that and I'm still alive, that's what I want to do. And that's what I build my life towards, to being able to do that. Now, if I fail, that doesn't mean I don't have a purpose in life. Essentially, if you work very hard, you're never truly going to fail like you think you will fail. Like, if I don't, let's say, get the big house on the hill, but I work really hard and try really hard, more than likely, you're going to at least end up with a house. You're going to end up with something. You're not just going to be homeless, you know? So that honestly has always been my why. And that's as very bare and basic as it gets along. And then obviously, depending on what I'm doing, there's other things that I enjoy. You know, with this podcast, I really enjoyed the fact that as young as I am, you know, I'm just like everyone else. I'm just a normal person. There's nothing absurdly special. You know, I don't have a 200 IQ or anything like that. But the words that I say and the actions that I go through in life have the ability to inspire people. And I really enjoy the fact that I'm able to share my experiences and be in a position to where we can build a very strong network and community of people that are trying to uplift each other to see the best of themselves.
Right.
So that, I would say, yeah, that's as easy as I can explain it, of what my why is, of what gets me out of bed every day and what makes me want to work hard, you know, because it's a lot of hard work for sure. But that really what comes to mind. And I'll pan to you, Jordan, you know, give you the floor pretty much. there's no way of even setting it up. It's that, what do you want to talk about? What do you got?
Yeah, in terms of my why, bro, and I'll be brief or as brief as I can because I know I can talk a lot. But I would say, bro, in terms of my why, what I've learned is the more that, especially getting into the field of psychology, getting into anything that's health care oriented, you get into it. One, we've talked about Ramsey. That was my initial why, right? My friend committing suicide, getting me into this field. Me wanting to save somebody else's Ramsey was the initial what's the name. And then it grew into a different passion, understanding what it really was. And we moved forward from there. But what I've realized in this life, bro, is the more I give to other people, the more that I've been able to, it's almost been like a symbiotic relationship that I have with trying to help people and trying to do things like this podcast or trying to be in people's corners or give advice or be in rooms where I'm listening and trying to have different conversations, bro. Because what I've learned is there's a duality to life, bro. And me giving you some game and you giving me some game, that don't take nothing off your plate. It don't take nothing off my plate for me to give you something, right? In actuality, what it does is it's now giving us both some knowledge that we probably prior didn't have, and now we be able to build upon that, and now we both winning. And I think sometimes when we think about relationships and think about things like that, it feel like it's got to be one winner and one loser, and it's very polarizing. But in terms of my why is I get to see my impact every day, and I get to always reinforce. I have this gratefulness with life. That just go back to my last question. I understand what I have today. I I can very well so not have tomorrow. But I understand also what I don't have today, I can have tomorrow. So it just goes to show you, bro, like how fickle life can be. It could be one decision, it could be something that has nothing to do with you that could change the whole outset of your life. So that's what my why is, to always wake up with that purpose and understand, why did you get in this? Why did you start doing this, bro? And when I always said to myself, whenever my mission only came about being about me, I'm gonna quit it, because the initial thing wasn't about me at all. This about the betterment of the people, and then the betterment of the people is what's going to be better for me. So it's a symbiotic relationship. They work hand in hand with one another, and my why is to help people find their purpose, like people have helped me find my purpose, because people have helped me in my journey. So to go ahead and pass that message along, and like you said, elevate one another. And the more I do it, the more it makes me feel good, and it gives me that hope that humanity is still in people. It's just we have to bring it out of people, and it's been clouded and stuff like that. But there is a way back to it, but it's step by step. So I would say that's my why.
Yeah, awesome, for sure. Well, moving on to BJ, of course. BJ's been waiting very patiently over there.
Yeah, I know.
he's been cooking up some stuff, going over
Absolutely.
some lines for sure. But yeah, BJ, let's talk about it. What's the passion? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
I mean, y'all know I'm a list guy, so I got a couple things in my head. I mean, just for starters, I've been blessed to be given the life I've been given. I mean, hell, you walked into the house today, you saw what we're living in. My parents have done very well for themselves, and therefore have been able to provide for their children and for their extended family as well. And I greatly appreciate that. So it's kind of my first reason is I feel I have an obligation almost to my family and to other people in the world to not squander what I've been given, to really count for the blessings I've been given. So that's, for starters, one of the big things. The second thing is my parents gave me a great life. I want to be able to do the same thing for my children. I want to make sure whatever family I have in the future, that I can take care of them, that I can provide for them to the level or better than what my parents could do. Which leads me into my third thing is I'm just too competitive with everything in life.
Yeah.
This is one of those things. And that could be looked at as a bad thing. It could be looked at as a good thing. My dad's probably one of the most successful black men I know. I'm gonna be more successful. I gotta be. My mom's one of the kindest people I know. I will go out of my way to make sure people feel comfortable and are happy, and genuinely try to make people have better days. That's just because what she taught me. But I mean, I'm competitive. I want to be better at it. My sister is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. She's a biomedical engineer. Cool. I'm going to go be smarter. I'm going to do something, or obviously not saying that I'm smarter than her, but I'm going to do something that's competing with her. I want to be at her level or better. I want to try to get to where my sister's at. So it's just this kind of, I don't know if it's an edge, but it's just a need for competition. And when I get to it and get an opportunity to compete, I have to. So now I'm trying to compete with my whole family, just trying to better myself. And with that, I mean, it's like an iron sharpens iron thing. So if I get ahead of my sister, it's going to do the same thing to her. She's competitive as well. We started out in grade school. Whenever we started running track together, you know, she's 4 years older than me, so she was faster than me then. But whenever I got faster than her, well, she went ahead and won state in track in her little 4x4 after that because it motivated her. So it's competitiveness that pushes me.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, you don't need a foolproof reason of getting out of bed or something like that. You don't need some crazy keys of life or something, you know, the 15 law, or, you know, what is it, the 40 laws of power to get out of bed, or, you know, you don't need, it can be something very simple. It can be something very straightforward. It can be ideology or anything of that nature, you know, whatever.
Provide for my family. Yeah, something.
Right. Something as simple as that. And that's what gets you out of bed. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot of bells and whistles to it. But moving on to closing remarks, kind of opens the floor and allow, I guess, what we want to say, whether we want to motivate people or something that we want to say for the audience, or something you want to add on and stuff. So while you guys are thinking about that, one thing I will say is I don't think there's anything that would make us more happy in this podcast. Well, maybe not anything, because I would enjoy a Spotify deal. That would probably be number one.
Something, man. Bring the money, man. Bring the money.
For two, or like 1A, 1B, there's nothing I would enjoy more, seriously though, than for us to actually create a community out of this, to bring together like-minded individuals. Again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, or you don't have to be a millionaire by 18 or something. Just a group of individuals, men, women, you know, this is universal. We're open to everyone. Group of people that want to come in and want to do better, want to help each other do better, want to motivate each other. And again, not everything's about money. Some people want to come in here and fix their mental health, and being around like-minded individuals will do more for them than wherever they were doing before could do for them. You know, some people are just on a bad track in life and would love to join a group that I would like to create, to where it gets their life back in order, it gives them a new purpose in life. I don't think there's anything more humbling, more great as a podcast if we can do something to where we can put that together. And again, that adds on to the audience. You know, I enjoy sharing these stories. I enjoy being able to speak our mind and what we're thinking, but it's all incumbent on you guys and what you want to do. When this turns off, when you're done listening to us, you need to take some time and think about this stuff. Think about what we're talking about. Think about how this applies to your life, what you can apply to your life. You know, think about what your why is. Think about what you can do to get to that point. And again, it's compound investing. You're not putting a lump sum in at once. You can do a little bit at a time. You can slowly build on that, and you'll be surprised how much progress you'll be able to make in a short amount of time. And the last thing I want to say, and I just want to speak freely on this, is that, you know, people need help, man, especially young people. We all need help. All right. There's just so much going on. There's so many things, so many avenues that are feeling like potholes, feeling like pit stops where people aren't able to get out of, feeling like traps, essentially. And, you know, and again, it's part of what we would like to do, is that just a lot of young people, it just feels like there's no direction. There's no one telling us this is what we need to do. There's no big brother out there that's actually genuinely trying to help us. It's just about consuming. It's just about buying this. It's about taking your money. It's about extortion. That's what it feels like. So that's part of what we want to build and what we want to do. We want to help people in any way we can, in the best way that we can for that individual, and that's just been on my mind. It's just something that I wanted to get out, So at the end of the day, we really want to help. We really want to do what we can to help. And more importantly, we want to get you to want to help yourself as well.
And I want to speak to that too. And then I'll pan to you, BJ, to go to your point on what you would have for a closing remark. But hell, you speak to something that's near and dear to my heart when you're talking about help. We all need we all need one another, right? We got to stop lying to each other. We got to stop lying to ourselves. I think the world has made us cold. Some of our situations, some of our circumstances have made us cold, but we're people, bro. We're social beings. You have to have relationships. You want to feel needed. You want to feel accepted. People that say they don't want to feel that's a trauma response to something bad happening to them in a relationship, in a personal relationship, to where it's like, I want to avoid it altogether rather than to deal with the consequences of that happening to me again. But you're speaking to it right, bro. People do need help. And I think too, though, with that as well, is just going ahead and, being able to create that environment that people feel safe to, be able to feel that they can come to you for help. That's what I want to be about. I can tell you all day, go get help. But many a times, most people don't go get help because they don't feel safe. They don't feel heard. They don't feel understood. They don't feel like, if I come in here, can I be my authentic self? So that's what we talk about on this podcast, is the whole mission for me and for us all collectively is we're talking with you. We're not talking at you. We're telling you more so from our struggles. We're letting you know, like, hey, bro, hey, sis, look at our struggles. Like, I'm going through this with you, bro. I'm going through this with you, sis. Like, I'm struggling just as much as you, bro. Like, I hope this resonates you. Let's get through this together, because I'm struggling too. So that's where it comes with, and we all can help one another. So I just wanted to touch base on that before we move forward. But go ahead, BJ. Man, I'm going into my sermons. I'm sorry.
No, y'all good, because I sure don't got a lot to say. But I mean, just to what you just said, bro. Just to what you just said, the only time you don't need to ask for help is to convince yourself to ask for help, like right. Just convincing yourself that someone else could have your best interest in mind and really push you towards what's good. But I wanted to go back to the quote you ended it with earlier, the Martin Luther King quote, you can't walk then crawl, you can't crawl then so on and so on and so on. It just reminded me of another quote I was reading earlier, and it was there's a difference between being stuck and choosing to stay there. And I just think that's the kind of the perfect wrap up for what we were talking about earlier. There's going to be those roadblocks. That's okay. It's just what you choose to do after you hit those roadblocks. Are you going to just stay there, sob, kind of be sad? Be sad for a while. That's okay. But at some point, you got to pull yourself up, ask for help, and then keep moving. Yeah.
And I do want to end on this note, bro, because we talking about success. And so if we talking about success, you know who I got to bring up, right? The GOAT, Nick Saban. Gotta bring him up.
I didn't think that's where you're going with that.
Yeah,
I knew y'all had no idea, so I wanted to make it very climatic, and it was very anticlimactic. They like, dude, I have no idea where you're taking this
at all.
No, I want to end with this quote, bro, because we're talking about using experiences we talking about hell, and you talking about compound investing, right? You say you don't need this lump sum. It's just building upon experiences, right? Just putting it in your bank, each by each, and just, step by step. But when we're talking about success, I love this quote by Nick Saban. He talks about this illusion of choice that we all think we have. And he talks about when you want to be successful at something, when you want to be great at something, you don't have that many choices. There is not that many choices to be great. at what you want to be great at. It takes certain things. It takes discipline. It takes what's the name. There's a blueprint out there to being successful in one way or another. And universally, there's a lot of things and intangible characteristics within that you have to sustain, to attain, and all of those things a level of success. And so it takes what it takes. Success takes what it takes. There's this illusion of choice that we have all these choices to be great at something, and there's not. If I want to go, my goal is to be a doctor, right? They said what? You have to go to school, earn this degree, you have to reapply, you got to have this, that, and the third. You got to go through this process. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a process to it because that's what it takes. And I can't excuse it. I can't go around it. We talking about what you got to go through it, right? So success takes what it takes. You have to understand, read those terms and conditions that you have to this life. And a lot of things that we go through in life. And I love Inky Johnson too. He talks about there's no guarantees. And if you going for something greater, thinking that you're trying to read this terms and condition sheets, like, dang, I ain't got that many guarantees. Well, you ain't gonna never start it. But who you becoming it is the most important thing, because I would never question the work. The confidence that we have, all three of us, all four of us really, come from what? The work we willing to put in. That's where I'm confident. I know I'm confident because I know what I'm willing to do to get to. I'm willing to sacrifice X, Y, and Z to get to where I want to go to. Period. And so success is in the work, bro. You can't go around it. You can't, and success takes what it takes. So this is a losing the choice that we all have when trying to be great, but there ain't that many choices when you're trying to be good at something. So that's what I wanted to end with.
No, that's awesome. Before we do the full closeout and everything, quick thing I just want to say is that we're coming close to our 1 year anniversary from when we first started this. Yep. And again, through the ups and downs, through everything that we had to go through, we started in a very cold basement with one mic and a dream. And we were hoping the record was on because we were only doing one take.
Right.
So, we get from that, and now look at us. We're, on all these social media platforms. We're always collaborating, doing what we can, pushing out content. There's no book on content. So when we push things out, it's almost like you're guessing. It's almost like, you're trying to mirror what other people are doing, but there's no guarantee that wherever we're posting is going to be the viral video or anything like that, So, again, take it from our lives, take it from what we're doing. We're going in on the 1 year anniversary. It's already been a year, and all the progress that we've been able to do through all the issues and things that we've had to go through. We're trying to make this work for you guys and trying to bring out the best product that we can, taking months off, taking time off, taking weeks, taking time to collaborate. Let's not do this episode. Let's do this episode. This is why, let's put this together. What do you think? Getting everyone's perspective, it takes time, and you got to be willing to go through that journey. And as long as you have the end goal in mind, or if you don't have the end goal in mind, as long as you're willing to do that compound investing, you'll make it. You'll be able to do what you want to do, just like how we keep trying to do what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, again, I love it. I love this episode. I love how this is a good platform for me to even talk about, because this is one of my personal philosophies and how I think. And it looked like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, let's give a tidbit. I want to give a tidbit before we close this out.
Yeah, sure.
For the people that have, I think we had 56, 40 mark, 41, 42, 43. Bang. Boom. So if you have reached the end of this episode, I want to give you a tidbit that we are really, really working on a big December. When I say a big December, I mean we got a lot of stuff coming up. So we appreciate the journey. Obviously, we got the 1 year, and it's special for us. But to our fans, I think you'll be able to see a lot more of us in depth. You might even see this. I don't know. I ain't going to give too much away. But you know what I'm saying? It's something special coming up for the group. And I want y'all to know that wouldn't have been able to happen without the support of y'all, without us getting the feedback. That's what fuels us. So when you see us having success, and when you see us getting into this month and what we got going on and the things we're pushing out and the announcements we have, just know that is in large part due to y'all. So I want to we want to make sure that we give that appreciation to our fans and our listeners, because they do drive this podcast and they do give us that motivation that keep coming back to give them great episodes. So Hale, I'll let you close it out, bro. This is your episode. Boom.
No, perfect. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, it's gonna be a great month. Stay tuned, of course. And where you can see this stuff is, go ahead and follow us on the Instagram at _men the podcast. All right. You can follow us on TikTok at men the podcast. And if you love to see our beautiful, some haircut, some non-haircut faces and these videotaped episodes, go ahead and go to our YouTube. It's just Men the Podcast. All right, very straightforward. And then, of course, when you go on the Instagram, you're free to click on the links to go to our normal audio that's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything. And free, comment, like, share, subscribe. All that stuff is free.
Turn that notification on.
Again, we love to talk. We love to hear feedback. Tell us what's on your mind. What do you think? Which episode you like? What do you want us to talk about? All of that stuff. We're all.
Can we do a live episode one day? What?
Oh, hold on. Hey, hold on. Whoa.
What?
We might hold on. Yeah, close it out.
No.
Close it out. Hey, what do you say? They say Mimi.
Hey, we're doing the live. All right, we're running it. All right.
Let's run it.
Yeah. Made it this far. There you go. That's your little hint. You got that. You've earned it. Thanks for saying. See you guys on the next one, of course.
Absolutely. Crazier thing is me and Hale driving an hour for that Popeye's chicken sandwich. That was a great adventure, though.
You know what? No. We're making sure people see that picture. All right. I must have had like.
Oh yeah, bro. Hey, when we
send it to me right now.
When we edit, can you throw these pictures
send it to me right now? We're gonna forget about it.
This was a great business strategy. This one I knew Hale had a mind on him. We was trapping chicken patties. We were buying them for the price. And you remember the chicken patty, the chicken sandwich, like that whole ore around it. I think he sold a sandwich, BJ, for like $15 to $20 for an individual sandwich.
And I can 100% believe that.
No,
if you would have told me that if you came to Quincy whenever the Popeye chicken sandwich first dropped and there was hella hype around it, and you would have told me that I could have had it for under $20, gladly. 25? Sure, why not?
Bro, I ran a ring, and I just want to. I wouldn't. Bro, I ran a ring.
But listen, though, hear me out, though. That was a great business. That's when I knew he had a great business mind, bro. I've never seen somebody hustle chicken sandwiches like that. And if you can sell chicken sandwiches, you can sell anything.
So,
in my book. That's me. That's very sickening. Very sickening.
And they're not warm either. They're cold at this point. They got to be reheated.
Oh yeah,
No,
because
yeah.
it took 40 minutes to get there. So yeah, they were cold.
Yeah. Wow.
But I had excellent customer service. I drove it to them. They got the little ranch sauce or whatever they needed with it, some napkins.
Yeah.
Hold up. You went from an hour to 40 minutes. I'm thinking an upper end of an hour. It's only 40 minutes away. I'm getting the chicken sandwich myself.
It's about 40 minutes to an hour. It's adjustable. It depends on when you go.
Yeah.
That's my drive to school. So
yeah, true.
I would make that drive easy.
Yeah, but if I was already coming back and it's nighttime and you really wanted that sandwich,
I wouldn't pay the $15.
$15 on you.
I was under different. What's the word? That's not what I was thinking. Let's just put it that way. I was thinking hour and a half away. Chicken sandwich not accessible. If it's 40 minutes, I'm a big. I'm gonna get it myself because I'm.
People say that. People say that all the time. But there's Uber Eats. There's Postmates. There's
we don't use those.
DoorDash. So people want to say that, but at the same time, people are paying essentially that for me.
And that's
for someone to drive out, go get their food, and bring it to them.
That's a very fair point because I worked DoorDash and I had a McDonald's order that was literally in the same lot as McDonald's. So 0.001 miles away, I got paid $7 to deliver.
That should tell. Let me end the recording right there, bro. Because that.
That's
and
American
I'm gonna tell you
capitalism, right?